live from H-Town, Houston, Texas, at the Owl's Nest at Red Owl Boxing, boxing's newest proving ground with our best collection of talent yet. Tonight, it is Boxfest 13. Hello, everyone. I am Corey Erdman alongside the Magic Man, Paulie Malignaggi. Pleased to be calling the action for you all night long here from ringside. Well, going back to our main event, this is kind of a reversal of roles, so to speak, for Marcus Taylor, of course, taking on Ivan Pondic a little bit later on. Taylor has kind of been that career B-side. He's branded himself the O-Snatcher for his propensity for taking undefeated records. Tonight, basically for the first time in a high-profile situation, he's the A-side against Pondic.
You know what? Even if he's the A-side, it's not like they can throw him a cupcake. Pondic, is a tall guy for this weight class. He's a little bit wiry, a little bit awkward. So you're technically the A-side. You've gotten used to being the B-side and having to pull off the upset. But you've got a guy in front of you who's they didn't exactly throw you somebody and say, okay, now you're the A-side. Go have some fun. No, this is going to be a difficult fight for him and for Pondic. Like I said, at the Owl's Nest, they make you fight.
Troy Nash of Colorado Springs, Colorado, a guy who's in the orbit of Terrence Crawford and Shakur Stevenson, will be kicking things off for us in just a few moments against David DeLeon. So we are set for our opening contest in the 130-pound division. Troy Nash taking on David DeLeon. As we take a look at the tail of the tape, Troy Nash, as you referenced, from Colorado Springs, Colorado, spent a lot of time in that Olympic training center. You see the measurables here, enjoying a reach advantage, will Troy Nash in our opener, as well as a 2-inch height advantage. The 19-year-old Troy Nash taking on David DeLeon, the 30-year-old, making his professional debut.
It's Nash?
Yeah, this is, as I mentioned, jumping right into the deep end, the 30-year-old David DeLeon against the blue chipper Troy Nash.
And he gave him a good stand down, too. Maybe they didn't tell him who Nash was. We'll see.
Round one underway. This one's scheduled for 4. In the 130-pound division, you see Troy Nash in the red trunks, kind of a pinkish hue trimmed with black. David DeLeon in the black title trunks.
DeLeon being awfully patient for a debut guy, right?
Just 7 amateur fights for David DeLeon, as compared to the lengthy amateur career of Troy Nash. Spent a lot of time training with Terrence Crawford. We mentioned that. Keyshawn Davis as well. And he's a fighter, Paulie. You see him in the orthodox stance right now, but Nash very comfortable switching it up, as are a lot of those guys, kind of in that Terrence Crawford orbit, right?
It's that new hybrid type of fighter. You're starting to see more and more of these fighters, that are very good at changing stances. I think most pro fighters can throw punches out of both stances, but it's being able to defend out of both stances that really decides whether you can fight out of the other stance. Good body shot by Nash a few seconds ago. Good hook there as well. I think I'm starting to see why Nash hasn't got the KOs in his first 2 fights yet. Sometimes he's a little too patient against probably guys who he should be overwhelming here. He's been in the ring now with DeLeon for half a first round, and you kind of see he may not be on your level. He's a little bit wild, but there's openings there to take advantage of if you get a little bit aggressive. I do give DeLeon credit. He did show up to fight at least.
A completely unfamiliar territory here for David DeLeon, and in basically the 8th fight of his life, Paulie.
Yeah, exactly. But you see it with Nash. You'd like to see Nash be a little bit more aggressive, or be a blue chip prospect. This is a guy, obviously, if he opens up a little bit, he's probably going to show a lot of superiority over him. He's giving him a little too much respect for my liking at this level. There will be a time where Nash will have to box like this as his level of opposition raises, but it's his level of opposition. I think you can, I'm not saying get reckless, because you always do want to maintain your fundamentals, but you can be a little bit more aggressive.
And of course there is always that push and pull for a guy like Nash, who's had a couple of fights falling through. Some fighters enter a fight with the mindset that they do want a little bit of time in the ring, and they want some rounds.
Yeah.
Nash landing a couple good body shots there again, and that one was felt by David DeLeon. And look at that left hook Climbing the ladder is Troy Nash, and he just ripped DeLeon with another one. A nice counter shot off the ropes.
You see when Nash opens up, you see what the damage he can do. You give DeLeon credit for wanting to fight through this, but you see Nash's shots being a little shorter, a little bit more accurate there.
We'll be right back with more action on Red Owl Boxing. Welcome back to Red Owl Boxing.
So round 2 begins with the third professional outing of the career of Troy Nash. Nash, as we mentioned, has yet to lose a round as a professional, and that's even in a pretty tough matchup last time out against Roman Reyes, a 5-0 fighter here at the Owl's Nest.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Especially he was only 1-0, right, going in against a guy 5-0. See, you'd like to see him be first a little bit. You see, DeLeon is first a lot, but he's not, really effective at it. But at least he's showing that fighting spirit. You can see Nash, if he was make a concerted effort to be first, he could probably get more shots together, more combinations together. Maybe he'll overwhelm a guy like DeLeon.
Swing and miss there for DeLeon.
Yeah, himself is kind of wild.
And good decision there from Nash. He's going right in and ripping a nice shot to the body. He had DeLeon hurt to the body in the opening round, and these are clean body shots that he's sneaking in there right now. Oh, big left hook there.
Yeah,
DeLeon just walked right into that one.
Yeah, sweeping left hook. That's what I mean. You can take advantage of a little bit of the recklessness DeLeon has in his aggression. And he sees it, but you want to see a follow-up here. You're starting to see now the accuracy of Nash starting to increase. You'd like to see the numbers get up a little bit now. As DeLeon's starting to feel a little bit overwhelmed, he's starting to back up. He's starting to feel a little less confident in his own work. Good body shot.
Wicked body shot. And DeLeon is in agony after that one. DeLeon up at the count of 9. We've heard Nash's corner, his father, Troy Sr., calling 163, 163 all round. It's that 6, that uppercut to the body that's doing the damage, and down goes DeLeon on a perfect left hook.
And you see, once Nash gets those numbers up a little bit, you start to see DeLeon's got some heart. He's getting up there. And you see getting those numbers up, putting the shots in combination together.
And that is it. This one is waved off.
Troy Nash straight to the bank with his first career knockout.
Yeah. See some of the replay work there. Really some good work to the body. See the right underneath the exposed right here. That's why you got to keep those elbows in, tucked in tight. But only 7 amateur fights, you don't get those fundamentals perfected. As you saw, DeLeon would wings out a little bit, so to speak, with the elbow out, extended out a little bit, and there was plenty of room. As Nash, with the proper fundamentals, getting those knees bent and digging that left hook to the body underneath the exposed rib and liver area of DeLeon.
We'll take a look back at the knockout itself here.
Well, knockout. You see, right here is that this left hook that had been landing a couple of times. We'd seen that sweeping left hook that Nash had started to show this, and he finally ended the fight here. He started to land it a little bit more in that second round. We saw one instant where DeLeon got caught coming in with it, and so Nash was starting to hone in on the target more and more with it, and there he used it to finish the fight. And against DeLeon, who was already probably still hurt from the body shot that he just recovered from.
Let's make it official. Let's send it back up to Lupe.
Inside the Red Owl Boxing Ring, referee Alejandro Leon waves off the action with an official time of 2 minutes 47 seconds of round number 2, declaring the winner by way of technical knockout and still undefeated. Take it to the bank, Troy Nash.
So the 19-year-old Troy the Bank Nash stays in the win column, now 3-0.
We'll be right back for our main event of the evening. Welcome back. It is now time for our main event.
Take a look at the measurables here. Marcus Taylor enjoying a reach advantage despite the fact that Ivan Panjic has that towering 6'3" frame. The 31-year-old Marcus Taylor with a dream assignment here in his hometown in the main event.
Main event time here at the Owl's Nest, and perhaps the birth of a new middleweight contender here in our main event between Marcus Taylor and Ivan Panjic. Will it be the O-Snatcher, or will it be the heavy underdog, the Cobra, Ivan Panjic?
Corey, I'm just glad I got my answer about the belt. You saw Sean gave the belt to Marcus during the introductions, and he was snapping it in front of the camera. So I got my answer about why Sean had that belt.
Two extremely tall middleweights here. Taylor targeting the body early. He is a terrific body puncher. We've seen that throughout his career.
I like the way Taylor is shooting the jab from different looks. I mean, he's not just shooting it from that conventional look. He's getting down and shooting it up, shooting it down, shooting it up. He's targeting it in different places, but also shooting it from different looks.
It'll be interesting to see in the early going how much of what we know to be that Sean Porter style will rub off on Marcus Taylor, and how much of Porter's influence on Taylor is just going to be letting Marcus Taylor be himself.
Well, I'll tell you what, if it's one thing it's going to influence, Sean's influence is going to come in is, you know, you're not going to waste any time in there. You know, you're going to be working all 3 minutes of every round. And if you're not on top of your opponent, you're going to be making your opponent think. You're going to be making your opponent, you know, go into that stress mode. And you can see that Taylor's doing that. Even if he's not physically on top of Panjic at the moment, you know, he's shooting those jabs, he's shooting different shots, keeping him thinking consistently. And when you have a guy who's constantly making you think like that, it's difficult to also start to set up your own offense, you know?
Clubbing right hands on the inside there from Marcus Taylor. I want to reiterate that despite the height advantage of Ivan Panjic, it is Marcus Taylor who is longer, and you are seeing him get there first because of that length and also because of the hand speed like that.
Yeah, that was nicely done. He forced Panjic to go straight back. When you go straight back up high, put yourself in line of position to get hit, and Taylor threw a little short combination as Panjic back straight up. Panjic's gonna have to do a better job of being first here. Taylor's done a really good job of being first and being consistent, even with the feints there. Just keeping Panjic thinking. There's a good shot by Panjic. And that's what Panjic's gonna have to do more. He's gonna, I think, really the person who's gonna control this fight is the one who's gonna get off first more consistently.
Panjic is coming off a first-round knockout win over Donald Ward, but that took him just 69 seconds, and prior to that, he was out of the ring for 26 months. And body work again there from Marcus Taylor as we enter the final 10 seconds of round one. Taylor making plenty of investments to the body in the early going of this 10-round main event.
We'll be right back. Welcome back as the action continues here at the Owl's Nest.
Stay loose. Stay loose.
It's round two underway. We can hear Sean Porter just to the left of us telling Marcus Taylor, stay loose, keep feinting.
Yeah, because even when you're not actively punching, if in between you're feinting, you're keeping your opponent thinking. I think Panjic can't win this fight if he doesn't focus on being first. If he allows Taylor to dictate and be first consistently, I just don't know that Panjic's counterpunching skills are going to be enough to, control this fight. And so far, it's been Taylor who's been first consistently, either with punches or with feints.
Well, it's in those circumstances, Paulie, that size becomes a disadvantage. If your opponent is getting off first, you're just a large target.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you know, usually a tall guy like Panjic is a pretty good counterpuncher, but in Panjic's case, he's not really the best of counterpunchers. You know, he's wiry, he can be a bit awkward, but I think he makes it work better for him when he's first. And if he's not able to be first, you know, you put him in that defensive counterpunching mode, and he just, despite the frame, he doesn't have that. And we're seeing that as Taylor is consistently controlling the tempo of the fight and then forcing Panjic backwards and then he's making him more uncomfortable.
Nice right hand to the body. An up jab from Marcus Taylor, popping the head back of Panjic.
And you see Taylor, the way he shoots that jab, he's shooting it from different heights and he's shooting it in different places, and again, it's keeping him busy. And even on the inside, you know, there's a little bit of that Sean Porter effect there. On the inside, not letting you rest. He's forcing you to work and be uncomfortable. Even if it's a little sloppy, it doesn't matter. It keeps you uncomfortable. It keeps you from being able to focus on what you want to do. You see there, Taylor not accepting the clinch, continuing to work and force Panjic.
Nice right hand over the top. A little flurry to the body, and then the right hand over the top.
And Panjic lands here and there, but again, it's not consistent enough to really deter anything that Taylor's doing.
And Taylor is really sneaking in some uppercuts here.
A little check left hook there from Taylor, starting to get the timing there.
Everything working for Marcus Taylor right now in the early going. From long range, on the inside.
Again, it's basically just being first. The consistency of this fight, the control of this fight is for Taylor because he's consistently knows how to be first. And that's a conscious decision you're making. When you're first consistently, that's a conscious decision you're making. And that's something that Taylor's conscious of and Panjic just isn't.
The final scraping right hand there from Marcus Taylor. And that'll do it for round two. Well, with more on Ivan Panjic, who you're looking at in the corner right now, let's send it back over to Sofia Gutierrez.
That's right. I spoke with Ivan yesterday, who came in as a late replacement. He said this is a great opportunity. A win tonight could get him higher up in the ranking. We touched a bit on his training. In the past, he's trained with the Mosleys up in Big Bear and even Leo Santa Cruz in Pomona. He said Santa Cruz is an explosive fighter and someone who can even relate to. Ivan is confident in his ability. He's been training for an early KO, but he's going to test the waters. He has high hopes for next year, and a win tonight would help him go in that direction.
Thank you so much, Sophia. Certainly a major opportunity for Ivan Panjic, and given where he's at in his career, Paul, it's understandable why you would jump at this kind of opportunity.
Of course, 33 years old, nothing to say before, really. You know, he's got a pretty good record, but a win like this would be a signature win for him. But again, he's got to act like he wants that kind of win, you know, and it starts first and foremost with fighting hungry. And right now, I feel like Taylor's fighting the hungrier of the two, is the one who's fighting more hungry out of these two fighters.
See Taylor showing Panjic a little bit of a southpaw look to start off the round.
Panjic just waiting. See, at this distance, notice who's getting off first. I'm going to keep beating this dead horse because it's going to be the difference in the fight.
Oh, big right hand from Panjic, and down goes Taylor.
And you see the...
Wow.
So Panjic caught the break there with, and it's these wiry long guys. We said this earlier tonight, these wiry long guys a lot of times have that punching power. But will Panjic not take advantage of the break he just got himself with that big knockdown? It's a huge knockdown that changes momentum here. Will it motivate Panjic to now try to dictate a bit more of this pace? As you notice, Taylor right away got right back on it.
A lot of time left in the round for Ivan Panjic. But it's Taylor who's on the front foot. And if you didn't know that knockdown happened,
yeah, you wouldn't even...
This still looks like Marcus Taylor looked in round 1 and 2.
Yeah, he got right back on it again. And that's that mental fortitude again, that conscious decision. It actually motivated Taylor more.
Yeah, I was going to say, it might have lit a fire. Look at that left hand from Marcus Taylor. catching Panjic pulling out and now going to the inside. A big left hook and a couple chopping right hands from Marcus Taylor.
Taking away the spacing here of Panjic. How is Panjic going to react here? Because obviously you saw he needs a little bit of space to be able to leverage that right hand the way he so beautifully did. But Taylor doing a great job of taking away the space. And of course, like I said, being first consistently.
Final 20 seconds of the round. Marcus Taylor touching the canvas here in round 3. Big right hand from Marcus Taylor. And Panjic on his bicycle after that one.
Aside from that knockdown, you wouldn't know anything happened.
We'll be right back. Welcome back.
Panjic has an opportunity here after that knockdown to take some momentum. He didn't do that the rest of the round, and let's see if he has any concerted effort here to, again, like I said in the previous round, to take control of this fight.
Well, very interesting round 3. I mean, you definitely can't call that a flash knockdown. That was a true knockdown,
yeah.
But Marcus Taylor recovered as if it was.
Good right hand over the top of the jab there by Taylor as he's trying to continue to stress Panjic. We talked about earlier tonight, Corey, these long, wiry guys, they tend to have that punching power, especially if you give them the space to get that snap on that long right hand. But that's what Taylor's doing very well. He's taking away the spacing, being first, trying to back up Panjic. And Panjic has to now recognize that that's the spacing he needs, and he's got to throw those shots. He's doing it there. He's got to set the right distance for himself now and get those kind of shots off. Taylor himself gets low when he attacks, but sometimes on the way out, he does have a bad habit himself of being straight up, so he can be caught. But it's up to Panjic to create that scenario by using that jab and backing him up a little bit.
Taylor just right on the chest of Ivan Panjic. One thing we're seeing on the inside, Paulie, we saw it during some of the training footage with Taylor and Sean Porter. Taylor using that left elbow to kind of create a little bit of space and line up that right hand.
Yeah, sometimes you do that. In MMA, they call it a frame, right? You kind of shove the guy with that forearm a little bit and create that little bit of space. See, on the inside here, this is that grind, a Sean Porter style grind, you know, and that's what Sean was really famous for. He didn't never really let you breathe when he was fighting, and you see Marcus taking some of that on the inside. So Marcus there, you see him following Panjic. He should be cutting off the ring there as he's stressing, trying to pressure Panjic so he's circling the ring. You see Marcus did get to Panjic, but you make your life easier when you cut off the ring instead of chasing him around the ring.
Big right hand there from Taylor. And Taylor that time, Paulie, landed the right hand, then fell to the inside, didn't pull straight back out.
Yeah, and that's what he's got to do. You can see he's obviously trying to not make the same mistake they got him drop him in the previous round.
Well, 20 seconds of round 4 as Panjic tries to find another one of those chopping right hands. Taylor forcing Panjic into exchanges here.
As you hear the bell to wrap up round 4.
See, action from that third round, a good right hand there by Taylor. And Panjic, when Panjic gets backed up, he's not really as effective.
Round 5 begins. Our main event between Marcus Taylor and Ivan Panjic. A fascinating one so far. Taylor touching the canvas, but otherwise has been in control of this fight. tries to get back on the front foot. You're right, Paulie. Panjic a lot more comfortable when he's moving forward. For a 6'3" middleweight, he's not the kind of guy that wants to be on the back foot flicking a jab or anything like that. That's just not his style.
It's not his forte, despite the it's almost like a waste of a big wide frame, because you'd expect somebody like that to be able to do that well, but he's better on his front foot. He's better when he's backing up Marcus Taylor, and that's been the difference in the fight, because most of the time it's been Marcus Taylor who's backing him up. Because to be honest, even with Taylor's style, if Taylor's the one being backed up, he's probably not going to be very effective either.
Nice left hook there from Taylor. Steps in with a nice left hand.
It's Taylor trying to make it uncomfortable, a little bit sloppy, a little bit physical. But the main thing is take away the play from your opponent, and that's what Taylor does well.
One of the reasons why Taylor and Sean Porter were so confident in accepting Panjic as an opponent is they felt that most of the fighters that they were sparring in this training camp anyway were built like Panjic, fought a little bit like him, like Miguel Hernandez, who just had a great showing last night in Flint against Joey Spencer, and sparring him plenty in Las Vegas. And Taylor again doing some good work on the inside, a left hook scoring, as Taylor now assumes the southpaw stance once more.
On the inside, it's all Taylor doing the work. Kind of just trying to find a way to get comfortable. He's going to get a warning probably from framing again with that forearm. But Panjic, for a guy that tall, winds up on the inside but doesn't know how to create that space for himself. So ends up becoming a little bit uncomfortable once Taylor gets in there. You see right there, you see he's a little bit out of depth and out of his element once Taylor gets close and starts moving his hands. Once again, it's all physicality, it's all uncomfortable work. It's not the prettiest, but he gets the job done. It completely negates anything Panjic wants to do.
Yeah, it's kind of dragging Panjic into a little bit of chaos and making him react. And that's a nice left hand to the body from Marcus Taylor.
Yeah, that's one thing that could come into play in the second half of the fight is Taylor has been making a good effort to get to the body with two hands. And when he's close, he doesn't miss a beat trying to get to those body shots.
We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone.
Well, Marcus Taylor has certainly provided excitement in two ways in this fight. Of course, overall, mostly dominant in this fight, but also touching the canvas, showing a little bit of vulnerability. Giving the fans everything you can want.
Makes it a little bit exciting, though. You know,
right.
Adds a little bit of a surprise element to it. Again, two hands to the body. Something to be noted for Taylor. And again, I'll go back to it. Aside from that knockdown, I mean, if Panjic is not getting off first, he is not going to be successful. And that knockdown was almost like a flash in the pan kind of thing, but he was not able to build anything off of it. It did not change his mentality. It's still Taylor being first. It's still Taylor who's more motivated. And you know, unless something changed there for Panjic, unless he decides where he's going to start to get off first and figure out a way to close that gap, he's not going to be able to close that gap correctly. Without smothering himself, he's not going to be able to have any success. One thing I noticed about Panjic, for a guy that tall too, that jab, the way he used that jab, he never pushes off his back foot. Usually when you're jabbing, when you put some steps, some emphasis on your jab, there's times when you don't get me wrong, but he never ever puts the emphasis on the jab by pushing off his back foot and snapping it really well. Another thing for a tall guy that's very surprising. You see Taylor once again working him on the inside, sort of that trench warfare kind of thing.
Marcus Taylor just forcing Panjic into the grind here on the inside, and Panjic having a lot of difficulty defending everything on the inside. It seems like defensively, he's either kind of selling out to defend the body and getting touched up top, or the opposite, right?
Yeah, and he's just out of his element on the inside, and he's so tall. And there are tall guys that know how to fight on the inside. We've seen that in the past, but he's not very good at understanding how to create that space on the inside. Anytime they get inside, it's all Taylor. You see there. So on the outside, it's Taylor. On the inside, it's Taylor. I mean, Pandic is going to have to get off first. And look, watch when he jabs. He never pushes off his back foot, ever. He just kind of just sticks it out there. And that's what happens.
Beautiful pull counter right hand.
You still got that same kind of lazy jab. Eventually, you're going to start to get timed over the top of it.
It looked like Taylor was almost waiting for that jab to come to him. And it was a right hand that was waiting for Ivan Pandic.
The funny thing is he doesn't push off either foot, because sometimes when you're going backwards, you push off your front foot to set you back explosively as well, just to create that space. But he doesn't push off his back foot going forward or off his front foot going backwards.
And this pressure and this punishment is starting to mount.
Yeah, that's a bad fundamental mistake on the footwork on the part of Pandic. And it's a shame with a guy that tall not really having that. Some of that action again, right here, getting off first on the part of Taylor on the inside. It's all Taylor moving his hands, all Taylor finding the space. You see how smothered Pandic feels on the inside. He can't even find space to get those shots off and be effective at all. And then go, okay?
As round 7 begins, Marcus Taylor, really throughout his career, has been the fighter who's kind of gone undetected. Even in an amateur career where he was 111-30, he wasn't able to go to too many international tournaments because he was in college, he had other things going on, other responsibilities at home, and then again, we've touched on his pro career, that perennial B-side kind of flying under the radar, but hoping that tonight could be the start of a true coming out party under the guidance of Sean Porter.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When you're not able to win those national titles or international situations in the amateurs, you don't get picked up by a promoter that's going to put you on those A sides, even as a prospect. And that's why he's had to do it the hard way, but it's the old-fashioned way. You grind. I think there's more of an effort here from Pandic in this trying to come forward. But again, the footwork debilitation that he has, not pushing off that back foot, not knowing how to come forward correctly, it's hurt him even when he's trying to put that effort. Because remember, Taylor is very, very awkward himself. So to close the gap on Taylor, you got to be explosive. And Pandic doesn't have that because he doesn't push off his foot the right way.
Looks like a cut is opened up over the left eye of Marcus Taylor. Try and get word on whether that's from a clash of heads or from a punch from Ivan Pandic.
It could have been a clash of heads too, because Taylor himself is awkward and jumps all the way in, all at once at times.
See Taylor's right eye, blood streaming down, seemingly on the outside of it.
Oh, good combination there by Taylor.
There was that little kind of hybrid uppercut from Taylor that he's had a lot of success with.
And again, it's Taylor getting off first for the most part, and Pandic has to change that. And you see Taylor first with the jab, consistently, constantly.
Sweeping left hook there from Taylor.
And on the inside, I mean, it's clear that Taylor's going to have the advantage. He's a smaller, more compact guy on the inside. I mean, Pandic looked totally out of his element on the inside, so he shouldn't allow anything to go on the inside. He should try to keep it on that outside, and then on the outside, he's got to be first, which he's not done. So I'm struggling to figure out what the path to victory Pandic expects to find using this kind of game plan that he's got right now. Yeah, it's Taylor being first.
Well, we are getting word that the cut on the face of Marcus Taylor did happen as a result of a punch from Ivan Pandic. We get little glimmers of hope, Paulie. That knockdown early, a cut caused by a punch, but otherwise, it has been all Marcus Taylor all night long.
I'm sorry, Corey, I question that. The Pandic hasn't landed much. I mean, I don't. I know I get that the call is going to be more punch, but I question it. Especially Pandic jumps in with. Pandic also, I mean, Taylor also flies in with his head a lot. He could have easily ran into the head of Pandic.
We'll be right back.
It's good enough the way we're going to have to say, you know what, that's what we're going to call it that, or we're going to stick to it.
Well, we could either Zapruder film that replay, or we can move on to round 8.
Good old Zapruder. 61 years ago now, huh? Crazy. Not too far from me, right? A few towns over.
That's true. Marcus Taylor going right back downstairs to the body. It has been a fantastic body attack all night long, as expected from Marcus Taylor. And this is where I think we're seeing little pops of Sean Porter added to the game. Just the way that he's maneuvering Panjic around on the inside and that physicality.
You can definitely see that influence. I mean, Taylor already had some of this in him, but you can see the influence of Sean, just Team Porter in general, because obviously Sean gets it. It's that teaching from his father, Kenny, who, you know, drilled it into Sean so well during his career. But you can see that influence on the inside, that constant creation of discomfort that Taylor looks to do to the opponent, which tonight is Panjic.
And short right hand on the inside there from Marcus Taylor.
Again, Panjic is keeping his punches home too much, you know, allowing Taylor to get off first. See, right off of here, Panjic should make an effort to be first. Instead, look, he's waiting, and he's waiting.
Taylor getting another warning for use of the elbow, and again.
And there, Taylor gave him plenty of time to get off first, and still Panjic waiting. Again, this is, at a certain point, you got to ask yourself, do you really want to win the fight? Or are you going to give it that effort?
A little uppercut scoring from Panjic. As Taylor takes a brief step back, but then steps in with a nice left hook. Credit to Panjic. I mean, he's taken a lot of flush shots that have just popped his head back, and he has not been visibly hurt at any point.
No. I mean, look, Taylor's got 3 knockouts and 17 wins, so he's not a big puncher. And a lot of Taylor's offense has to be cleaned up in that, you know, he's got to turn the knuckles over. He's a bit slap happy. But again, he's just the kind of guy who just makes you totally uncomfortable because he's constantly doing something. He's constantly keeping you busy. And it's not just punches. It's also physicality. It's also the change of levels, a little bit of awkwardness. But nonetheless, that's not an excuse for Panjic. Panjic, when you got a frame like this, you've got to make sure you're getting on first, especially with your jab. You see when he gets off first, he got a decent combination, but then goes back to waiting. Now it's Panjic who's got a little cut underneath the left eye.
You can see the blood. Yeah, and it is swelling very quickly. That eye might be closing in the coming seconds.
Might have been a good shot from Taylor then, and it's landed.
Yeah, that eye is ballooning immediately.
Good right hand there by Panjic.
And a right hand right on that eye from Marcus Taylor right at the end of the round. The Panjic corner going to have a lot to deal with right now.
If you want to win, knock him out, Ivan. That's not okay. You have to knock him out, baby. You gotta start chopping the hand over and over and over like this. Okay, aggressive with that 1-2 like that. Okay? Stay aggressive. Stay aggressive with that 1-2. Wake up, let's go.
Round 9 begins. We're getting word from the truck that we believe that swelling was caused by an elbow from Marcus Taylor, which he has been warned for many times during this fight.
Yeah, we have seen that, so could be.
Ivan Panjic dealing with a lot right now.
Panjic getting his hands off there. That's what he's got to do.
Yeah, and that's a dangerous spot for Taylor to be in. Down that low, hands at his side. Panjic chopping down with the right hand. Taylor gets out of danger there.
But again, if you're the guy who's behind Panjic, look how much waiting. Look how long he's waiting. And again, Taylor gets off first. Again, watch. Just count the seconds. Watch. Again, it's Taylor getting off first.
Nice uppercut on the inside.
That's not even a technical mistake. That's just mentally just not being hungry enough to go try to win the fight, or at least being out-hungered by Taylor. Again, this is the moment. Who gets off first? It's Taylor.
Well, if Panjic is struggling with opportunity recognition, shall we say, it's not helping the case that his lead eye is closing rapidly.
And what's worse is even when his eye was fine, he wasn't doing it. So now it's only made it worse that his lead eye is closing rapidly. And now Taylor has something to aim for and be spurred on by, to try to aim for that eye.
The eye of Panjic does seem to be open at this point. But they had the industrial grade end swell in the corner there.
Yeah.
Probably they had the big boy.
The one they split your head with if you hit you with that, you know?
A hard right hand over the top there from Marcus Taylor. Inside the final minute of round 9.
See right here, again, another opportunity. Off of every break, it's the opportunity for Panjic to create space and get off first. But off of every time, he doesn't get off first. Right here, whenever there's this kind of space, that's the big opportunity for Panjic. Where he's got to create something at this distance. It's the ideal distance for him. And instead, it's always Taylor. And that's pretty much the story of the night. Aside from that one moment Panjic had with the knockdown, it's just been Taylor wanting it more than him and showing it. Good combination there by Taylor. Good double left hook, Corey.
And Taylor flowing really well now between good work on the outside and then these ambushes on the inside like that.
I see Sean in the corner telling him get low on the ropes. That's pretty dangerous. Marcus sometimes stays a little bit up high on the ropes.
Marcus Taylor turning up the heat as we head into the 10th and final round.
Welcome back to Red Owl Boxing.
10th and final round of the homecoming of Marcus Taylor here in our main event against Ivan Panjic.
And it's Taylor trying to close strong, trying to back up Panjic. And to give the hometown crowd a final round to remember here. Again, too much waiting for Panjic. Again, Taylor gave him plenty of time to see if he wanted to get off first, and Panjic did not.
Nice left hand to the body there from Taylor.
Oh, big
huge left hand over the top, and that one stops Panjic in his tracks.
Yeah, right from the southpaw stance, big overhand left. Again, Taylor trying to making a memorable last round for the crowd. Panjic trying to fight inside though. Again, this is the moment to get off first for Panjic, and once again, too much waiting. And once again, it's Taylor who gets off first. Story of the night.
Sean Porter telling Marcus Taylor, close the show.
Yeah, he's trying to. I mean, he's giving it an all-effort 10th round here. And Corey, I think this is pretty much a shutout aside from the knockdown.
Yeah, if not for that knockdown.
Yeah. And even the knockdown round, he probably won it, just he's not going to win it because he got knocked down. Like white on rice, as they say. He's on top of Panjic consistently.
There's a right hand from Panjic, but Taylor comes back with a better one immediately.
Yeah. Good roll and counter with a combination there on the part of Taylor. Very well done there.
Panjic taking a look up at the clock, and while he's doing that, he's just getting mugged with shots on the inside.
Credit to Panjic, though. He did step in. He wasn't in this main event before. You know, it's credit to him toughing it out and getting through 10 rounds, even scoring a knockdown. You know, this wasn't the position he was going to be in initially. For him to step in and be able to give the crowd 10 rounds, to be able to enjoy a good main event, it's also a credit to him too. Good combination there by Taylor. He's going to close it. He's going to close it for the crowd.
Well, Ivan Panjic just went 10 tough rounds with a man at Marcus Taylor that might have just entered the world rankings.
Seeing action from that round again, it was just Taylor just continuing to make things uncomfortable. This is the nice move here where Taylor rolls off of the Panjic right hand and then actually came back with a 3-punch combination very nicely.
We are ready for the official decision. Let's send it back up to Lupe Contreras.
After going the distance of 10 rounds inside the Red Owl boxing ring, the official scorecard reads as follows. All 3 judges are in complete agreement with identical scores of 98 to 91 in favor of the winner by way of unanimous decision. Still an ABF middleweight champion, the old snatcher, Marcus Taylor.
Well, Marcus Taylor with a big win here in our main event, who in all likelihood will enter the world rankings here after that victory.